Ethan Hale never thought he would share a dorm with someone from another world. When he was accepted into the Interplanetary Academy on Titan 12, he expected adventure, maybe strange food or low-gravity problems, but not this. His new roommate was from the Virilan species, tall, graceful, skin glowing softly like moonlight, and eyes that looked like stars reflected on still water. Her name was Lyra. At first, Ethan tried to act normal. He was just an ordinary engineering student from Earth, good with machines but shy around people. Lyra spoke little, her voice calm, melodic, and always precise. She seemed to know everything about quantum theory but almost nothing about humor. She kept her half of the room spotless. Every item lined perfectly, every datapad glowing in perfect order. Ethan's side looked more like a workshop than a room. Tools, wires, and a small robot arm half-built on his desk. For the first few weeks, they hardly spoke. Lyra studied late, often sitting by the window, watching Saturn's rings turn gold under sunlight. Ethan sometimes looked at her reflection on the glass but quickly turned back to his homework. He didn't want to make her uncomfortable. Virellans were known for their sensitivity and pride. But that night, everything changed. It was past midnight when Ethan woke suddenly. The door to his room slid open with a soft hiss. He blinked in the dim blue light, his heart beating fast. Someone was inside. A shadow moved, tall, slender, silent. His brain shouted one word, "Intruder. Who's there?" He whispered, trying to sound brave. Then the lights shifted and he saw her face. It was Lyra. She wasn't wearing her usual academy coat. Her silver uniform shimmered faintly in the dark. Her eyes glowed softly, focused, alert. "Lyra, what are you—" "Be quiet," she said calmly but quickly. Her tone left no room for argument. She moved with the smoothness of someone who had trained for moments like this. She went straight to his desk, running her hand along the wall panels behind it. Ethan sat up, confused and half afraid. "What are you doing in my room at midnight?" Lyra didn't answer right away. Her fingers glowed faintly as she traced a square outline on the metal wall. Suddenly, a sharp click echoed and a small device dropped out. A thin black disc no larger than a coin. She caught it midair and held it up. "This," she said softly, "is a listening unit." Ethan stared. "A what?" "A surveillance device," she explained. "It has been recording your work and sending it to an unknown network for weeks." He swung his legs off the bed, eyes wide. "That's impossible. I built everything myself. Who would—" Lyra turned the small disk over in her hand. "You are working on a human adaptive AI interface, yes? Something that learns from emotional tone?" "Yes," Ethan said, puzzled. "It's just for class. Nothing secret. To you, maybe. But others think differently." She placed the device on the table and drew out a small crystal tool from her belt. A beam of blue light passed through the disk, projecting a faint hologram of coded data. Ethan saw lines of alien script, pulsing like heartbeat waves. "That's not human code," he said slowly. "No," Lyra said. "This is Virellin military encryption. Someone inside the colony is spying on human students. They want to weaponize your technology." Ethan felt cold. "Weaponize it?" "My AI can barely understand sarcasm." Lyra almost smiled, but there was worry in her eyes. "That is exactly why it's dangerous. You built something that learns from empathy. Most species cannot create that. To some, that is power." He sank back into his chair. The reality of her words sank in like a slow wave. He had come here to study, not to become part of some interplanetary conspiracy. "Why are you telling me this?" he asked. "Why not report it?" Lyra hesitated, glancing toward the door. "Because I am not supposed to know," she said quietly. "If the Academy Council finds out I discovered this, they will think I am involved. They do not trust Virellans working with humans after what happened on the Helios station." Ethan had heard of that. An accident between a human crew and Virellin researchers that caused years of tension. "So you're risking trouble. To help me." Her eyes met his. "Yes, because you are innocent and because I sense truth in you." There was silence for a moment. Only the hum of the dorm's oxygen filter filled the air. Ethan didn't know what to say. He had never seen her look uncertain before. She wasn't just the perfect alien scholar anymore. She looked worried, almost human. "What should we do?" he asked finally. Lyra thought for a moment. "Destroy it, but carefully. If you break the casing, it will trigger a signal." She took a small pulse wave emitter from her toolkit, pressed it to the device, and a faint shimmer passed through. The disc cracked soundlessly and dissolved into dust. The lights flickered once, then steadied. "It's done," she said softly. "No more tracking. But others may come to check. You must act normal." Ethan nodded, still trying to process everything. He looked at her and said, "Lyra, thank you." Her expression didn't change, but her tone softened slightly. "You are welcome, human Ethan." Then she turned toward the door. "Wait," he said quickly. "Why did you help me? You could have ignored it." Lyra paused at the doorway. Her voice was quiet, almost distant. "Because someone once helped me when no one else would. I learned from that." Then she was gone, the door sliding closed behind her. Ethan sat there for a long time, staring at the empty space where she'd stood. The room felt heavier, filled with unspoken things. His AI unit blinked softly on his desk as if aware of what just happened. He turned it off and lay back down, but sleep refused to come. Every sound in the corridor made him jump. He kept seeing her face in the dark, the calm urgency, the glow of her eyes, the quiet way she said, "You are in danger, human." Morning came too fast. The colony lights shifted from blue night to soft gold day. Ethan dragged himself to class, pretending nothing happened. Lyra sat across the lecture hall, focused as always, her expression unreadable. But once, when he caught her gaze, she gave a tiny nod, as if to say, "I remember too." All day, Ethan's thoughts churned. Who had placed that device? Was it truly Varellan tech? If yes, why spy on a student project? That night, he searched his room for more clues. Under the bed, behind the console panels, even inside the vent. Nothing. Still, he felt watched. When he stepped into the hall, he saw Lyra standing by the observation window, the rings of Saturn glowing faintly behind her. She turned slightly as he approached but didn't speak. Her presence felt like quiet gravity pulling everything toward her. "Do you think they'll come again?" he asked. Her voice was low. "If they do, I will know first." Ethan smiled faintly. "That's comforting." Lyra glanced at him, the faintest curve of amusement on her lips. "Do humans always joke when they are frightened?" "Pretty much," he said. "It's how we stop shaking." Her eyes softened like stars behind mist. "Then keep joking," she said. "Because this is only the beginning." The corridor lights dimmed as night cycle began again. Lyra turned and walked away, her steps soundless on the polished floor. Ethan watched her go, 1,000 questions in his mind, but only one truth growing in his heart. His roommate wasn't just beautiful or brilliant. She was dangerous, brave, and hiding something much bigger than a listening device. And deep down, he knew this strange midnight moment was the start of something that would change both their lives, and maybe even the fragile peace between their worlds. Ethan Hale was an ordinary human engineering student at the Interplanetary Academy on Titan 12, a joint colony where humans and aliens lived and studied together. It was supposed to be the dream of peace between species, but to Ethan it was mostly long hours, cold meals, and too many rules. His new roommate was not human. She was a Varellan, a race known for their blue skin, tall figures, and soft glowing eyes. Her name was Lyra. She was quiet, precise, and always serious. She wore her uniform perfectly, every corner of her desk lined up like a soldier's quarters. Ethan's side was the opposite. Tools scattered, datapads stacked crookedly, a half-built drone sitting beside his bed. They barely spoke for 2 weeks. Lyra studied late, often sitting by the window to watch Saturn's glowing rings. Ethan sometimes caught himself glancing at her reflection. There was something about her, calm but powerful, like she was hiding storms behind silence. One night, long after lights out, Ethan woke up to the sound of his door sliding open. The digital lock gave a soft beep. He turned, half asleep, his heart jumping as he saw a shape step through the dim blue light. "Who's there?" he whispered. The figure moved closer. Then a soft voice answered, "Be quiet, human." It was Lyra. Ethan blinked in shock. "Lyra, what are you—" Before he could finish, she crossed the room with smooth, fast movements. "Stay still," she ordered. Her eyes glowed faintly as she scanned the wall near his desk. Then she pressed her palm to the metal panel. A faint hum filled the room. "What are you doing?" Ethan asked, confused. She didn't answer. Instead, a small black device slid out from a seam in the wall. It looked like a coin, but it emitted a strange green light. She caught it carefully, holding it between her long fingers. "This is a listening device," she said in a low voice. Ethan sat up. You mean someone was spying on me? Lyra nodded. Yes. It has been transmitting data from your desk to an unknown receiver for weeks. That's impossible. I'm just working on a small AI project for class. Your adaptive empathy AI, she corrected softly. The one that learns emotions from tone and reaction? Yes, but how do you know about— I read your report somewhere, she said. I was curious, and now I know why someone is watching you. Ethan frowned. Who would care about my project? Those who fear what humans can create, she replied. Your program can teach machines empathy. To most races, that is dangerous knowledge. He felt a chill. Dangerous? It's just supposed to help robots understand people better. Lyra looked at him, her expression unreadable. That is what makes you different, human. You create to understand, not to control. But others may use your work for something else. She examined the small disk again. This code, Virilan military pattern. Someone from my own species may have placed it. Ethan stared. Then why are you helping me? Lyra hesitated. Because I do not agree with what they do. And because I sense truth in you. She held the disk tightly. We must destroy it carefully. If we damage it the wrong way, it will send an alert. She took a pulse emitter from her belt, pressed it to the disk, and a brief shimmer of blue light spread. The disk cracked soundlessly, turning into a thin mist of dust. The lights in the room flickered, then steadied again. It's gone, she said quietly. Ethan rubbed his forehead, still in shock. Lyra, this could get you in serious trouble. I know, she said. That is why you must not tell anyone. Promise me, human. He nodded slowly. I promise. Lyra turned to leave, but he stopped her. Wait, why risk so much for me? She looked back, her face calm but her eyes faintly sad. Because once someone helped me when I was alone. I remember what it felt like to be saved. Maybe now it is my turn. Then she walked out, the door sliding shut behind her. Ethan sat there staring at the spot she had been standing in. He couldn't sleep again that night. His mind raced with questions of who planted the device, why him, and what else did Lyra know that she wasn't telling. When morning came, the academy corridors buzzed with quiet life. Lyra acted like nothing had happened. She sat 2 rows ahead of him during class, her posture perfect, her focus absolute. But once, when their eyes met, she gave him a small nod, a silent reminder of their shared secret. From that moment on, Ethan knew his quiet student life was over. Something hidden and dangerous was unfolding around them, and his alien roommate, the one who broke into his room at midnight, was right in the middle of it. Part 2, 1250 words. The next few days passed slowly. Ethan tried to act normal, but he couldn't stop glancing at the corners of the room, wondering if more hidden devices were watching him. Every sound of the ventilation system made him flinch. Lyra stayed distant in public. She avoided talking to him in class or at lunch. But late at night, small notes appeared on his desk, written in her careful script. Do not connect your AI to the network. Another read, security may question you soon. Stay calm. Ethan didn't know how she got those notes there. Her movements were like shadows, silent and precise. On the 4th night after the discovery, Ethan's console began to glitch. Lines of alien text flashed across the screen, not from his system, but from something external. He quickly shut it down. Moments later, there was a soft knock at his door. He hesitated, then opened it. Lyra slipped inside, her expression tense. They are trying again, she said. You mean the same people who planted the device? Yes, they are searching the network for your AI files. Ethan sighed. It's just code, Lyra. I don't understand why anyone would want it. Because your code learns emotions. No machine has done that before. She paused. In the wrong hands, it could control soldiers or manipulate civilians. Ethan swallowed hard. Then what do we do? Lyra looked around the room carefully. We hide it. Inside something they will not check. He frowned. Like what? She pointed at the small spherical drone sitting on his desk, the one he'd been building for months. That will do. Together they opened the drone's memory core. Ethan copied his AI program inside while Lyra placed a masking crystal over it, changing the digital signature so it appeared as a cleaning bot system. Now no one can find it, she said. But you must stay silent. Ethan studied her face. Lyra, you're risking everything again. She met his gaze. So are you. For a moment they stood there in silence, the room filled with the soft hum of the drone charging. Then Lyra spoke again, her tone lower. "Do you trust me, human?" Ethan hesitated only a second. "Yes, I do." That night alarms echoed across the academy. Red lights flashed through the hallways. Security drones flew past their door. Lyra turned pale blue, the virulent reaction to fear. "They are searching rooms," she said quickly. "Someone told them the data crystal used to hack the system was traced to me." Ethan's heart raced. "That's impossible. You didn't do anything wrong. They don't care. They need someone to blame." Without thinking, Ethan grabbed her data crystal from her desk. "They'll search your things first," he said. Ethan, "No," but he had already hidden it inside the AI drone's core. "If they scan, it'll look like a machine part. They won't find it." Lyra stared at him, her voice trembling slightly. "If they catch you with that, you'll be expelled." "Maybe worse," he smiled weakly. "Guess we'll both be expelled then." A sound came from the corridor, footsteps heavy and metallic. Lyra stepped closer, her voice urgent. "Do not speak. Let me handle this." The door slid open. 3 security officers entered, led by a human captain. "We're conducting a search," he said. "Step aside." They checked Lyra's belongings first, scanning every item. Then they turned to Ethan's desk. The drone glowed softly, its fake maintenance label showing. The scanner beeped once, then went silent. "Nothing unusual," the officer said. "Move on." When the door closed, Ethan let out a shaky breath. Lyra looked at him for a long moment. "You should not have done that," she said softly. "I couldn't let them take you," he said. Her eyes glimmered faintly like tiny stars. "Humans," she whispered. "You always protect others, even when it hurts you. And you," Ethan said quietly, "always risk yourself for the truth." For the first time since he met her, Lyra smiled, a small warm smile that softened her face. "Perhaps that is why we understand each other." That night they sat together by the window watching the stars. Outside, the colony was silent again, but Ethan knew it was only temporary. The people who planted the device hadn't given up. As the planet's shadow passed across Saturn's rings, Lyra spoke again, almost like a promise. "If they come again, we will face them together." Ethan looked at her, at the faint glow of her skin in the dark. "Together," he said softly. And for the first time since coming to Titan 12, he didn't feel alone. Days after the search, peace at the academy felt thin, like glass ready to break. Ethan tried to attend classes and act normal, but he could sense eyes following him. Some students whispered when he passed. Rumors spread fast on Titan 12, about a human and a Virilan hiding something together. Lyra kept her distance during the day. She sat alone in the lecture hall, calm as always, her hands folded neatly on the desk. But every night when the corridors fell silent, she came to Ethan's room. They studied the data together in secret. The small AI drone glowed softly between them. Holding the truth, both of them risked everything to protect. "Whoever is behind this won't stop," Lyra said one evening. Her tone was steady, but her eyes revealed concern. "They believe your AI is the key to controlling emotional behavior. They want to use it to train soldiers." Ethan's stomach twisted. "That's not what it's for. It's supposed to help people understand each other." "That is why they fear it," she replied. "Empathy is more dangerous than any weapon." He stared at her, realizing how serious she was. "So what now? Do we keep hiding?" Lyra stood by the window, looking out at Saturn's pale rings. "No," she said softly. "We reveal the truth before they destroy us for it." Ethan frowned. "Reveal it to who?" "The Interstellar Council, the one that oversees both human and Virilan colonies." He almost laughed. "You mean the same council that would expel me for sneezing wrong in the lab? They won't believe us." Lyra turned to him, her blue glow brighter under the cold light. "They will if we show proof, and if we survive long enough to give it." That night they began gathering evidence. Lyra traced the signal patterns from the destroyed listening device. Ethan recoded his AI to track the data source instead of learning emotions. Every click of the keyboard echoed like a heartbeat. By dawn, they had a trail, faint but real, leading to the outer communication hub near the colony's maintenance dome. Whoever was behind the spying was sending data directly to a hidden satellite orbiting Titan 12. "It's not just students," Ethan said, rubbing his tired eyes. "Someone inside the academy is helping them." Lyra nodded slowly. "Then we must act before they erase the evidence." That evening, under the pale glow of the dome lights, Ethan and Lyra slipped through the service corridors. The air was cold and smelled of metal. Security drones buzzed far away, their red lights sweeping across the walls. They reached the communication hub, a massive circular room filled with humming towers and blinking consoles. Lyra connected her data crystal to the main terminal. Blue symbols streamed across the screen. Ethan kept watch by the door. "How long will this take?" "Not long," she said. "I just need to reroute the transmission through your AI's empathy code. It will reveal the sender's identity." He raised an eyebrow. "You're using emotions to break military encryption?" A tiny smile appeared on her face. Feelings are harder to fake than passwords. But before she could finish, an alarm shrieked. Red lights flashed. "Door slammed shut. They found us," Ethan shouted. Lyra yanked the crystal free. "Run!" They sprinted through the corridors as drones dropped from the ceiling, firing warning bolts that sparked against the walls. Lyra pushed Ethan behind a storage tank. "Give me the drone," she said quickly. He handed it to her, and she pressed her palm against it. The small sphere glowed with a deep violet pulse, releasing a shockwave that short-circuited the drones. Sparks filled the hallway. "How did you—" She didn't let him finish. "Later, go." They burst out into the cold night, the stars sharp against the black sky. The colony alarms howled behind them. Ethan's lungs burned as they ran toward the outer dome. When they reached the airlock, Lyra sealed it and activated the drone. "The truth is in here," she said, holding the small sphere close. "It has everything, the recordings, the signal traces, the corrupted code." Ethan nodded. "Then let's send it to the council." She hesitated. "Transmission from here will be blocked. We must reach the surface array outside the dome." He looked at her in disbelief. "That's an open Titan atmosphere." "We'll freeze!" "I can shield us," she said. "But you must trust me." Ethan swallowed hard. "I've done that since the night you broke into my room." Outside the dome, the world was silent and strange. Methane clouds drifted across the horizon like slow ghosts. Lyra's suit glowed faintly, her energy field spreading around both of them. The air was thin and freezing, but inside the field, Ethan could still breathe. They climbed the slope toward the tall antenna array. Lightning danced faintly across the distant sky. Each step felt heavier as the low gravity pulled oddly at their legs. At the top, Lyra placed the drone into the terminal port. "Once I connect it, everyone will know," she said. "Even the ones who want us gone." "Then do it," Ethan said. She pressed her hand to the panel. The antenna came alive with blue light, sending a pulse of energy into the stars. For a moment, the whole sky seemed to shimmer. Then a voice echoed from behind them. "Step away from the console." Ethan turned. 3 figures stood at the ridge, 2 humans and 1 Virelan officer. All wore black security armor. The Virelan officer's voice was cold. "You have stolen restricted data. Hand over the drone." Lyra's stance hardened. "You were the one transmitting our research to the satellite." "You know nothing," the officer said. "Your kind and his do not belong together." "We protect order." Ethan stepped forward. "Order isn't spying. It's fear. You're afraid of people working together." The officer raised a weapon. "Last warning." Lyra moved first. Her hand flashed and a pulse of light struck the weapon, sending it spinning into the dust. Ethan dived behind the console as the others fired, bolts flashing across the night. "Lyra," he shouted. "I'm fine," she called back, deflecting another shot with a field of blue energy. "Upload complete, 30 seconds. Ethan pressed the final command on the console. "Then we hold until it's done." The air buzzed with static. Lightning struck nearby, shaking the ground. One of the attackers fell as Lyra's counterwave hit him. The others retreated, shouting into their comms. The console beeped. "Upload complete." A brilliant beam of blue light shot skyward. The data was gone, transmitted straight to the council. Lyra turned to Ethan, breathing hard. "We did it, but the moment was short." The damaged antenna began to overload, energy crackling across the metal. Ethan saw it first. "Lyra, move!" She shoved him aside just as the console exploded. The blast threw them both backward. Dust and light swallowed everything. When the smoke cleared, Ethan crawled toward her. "Lyra!" She was lying still, her glow flickering faintly. He lifted her head gently. "Stay with me, please." Her eyes opened slowly. "The message." "It reached them," he nodded. "Yes, it's over." A weak smile crossed her lips. "Then it was worth it," Ethan's voice broke. "Don't you dare leave me now." She placed her hand on his arm, her touch warm even through the cold air. Humans, she whispered. So full of heart. You never give up. And you, he said softly, never stop saving people. The sound of rescue shuttles grew closer. The alarms from the colony faded. Lyra's glow steadied again, stronger now. When they were brought back to the base, officers from the Interstellar Council were waiting. The truth from their transmission had already reached the capital. The corrupt officials were arrested. The council declared both Lyra and Ethan heroes for exposing the conspiracy that could have started another war. Weeks later, life on Titan 12 returned to calm. The academy reopened. Ethan repaired the drone, keeping it as a reminder of the night they changed everything. Lyra visited his room again, this time knocking politely before entering. Ethan grinned. You actually knocked this time. She tilted her head, smiling slightly. I learned from humans. Sometimes it's polite to ask first, he laughed. And sometimes it's brave not to. Lyra stepped closer, her eyes bright like distant stars. You are unlike anyone I have met, Ethan Hale. And you, he said, are the best roommate I could ever have, even if you did break into my room at midnight. She smiled. I would do it again if it meant saving you. Outside the window, Saturn's rings shimmered in gold light. Two very different souls stood side by side, a human who built empathy into machines, and an alien who discovered empathy in herself. Somewhere beyond Titan 12, the stars burned quietly, watching them both. Proof that sometimes the smallest acts of trust could change the fate of worlds.